Good morning. Did I say that right? Hopefully. Hi, I'm Kimberly Hicks. I will give you a little bit of information on my background. I've worked in media for almost 20 years. I started at Turner Broadcasting, which you may recognize some of the names, primarily working with CNN, and then I moved to an R&D group, which really got me interested in innovation and how to do things differently. And then I wanted to move to New York, so I went to Viacom, where I also worked on core technologies and components, but also looking at innovation. And then I went to Disney, primarily because I got tired of winters in New York, which I know I get no sympathy from anyone in Sweden, but winters are really long in New York, so I wanted to go to LA. And now I'm currently working for a startup, so which is a completely different environment. But to take you back a little bit, I grew up in Southern California, and this was my first meeting with Mickey Mouse. I was scared of him. I mean, he's got a very large head, right? But when they called me and offered me a job, it was just a dream come true for me to work for a company where I grew up visiting as a child. One of the biggest things that resonated with me is that where Disney started, and I really wanted to bring that to the company. So I always tried to remember back to that child and that first experience I had at Disney. While at Viacom, I had a boss that sent all of us through the design thinking program at Stanford University. I brought it back to Viacom to do it, and it failed miserably. They just were not in the mindset to do it. It was weird, it was strange, it didn't work well. So I kind of thought, well, that was, lost learning. But at Disney, I was really able to leverage this. So I'll give you several examples of how we leverage the design thinking. And if you're not familiar with it, these are kind of the steps that you go through. So I'll go through examples for each step. The first one is to empathize with your user. One of the ways we did this was through a partnership with Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. We were really interested in understanding the impact of VR with kids. So right now, VR is not recommended for kids under 13, primarily just because people are afraid of being sued. There's no proof one way or the other if it has a negative effect. The Children's Hospital wanted to help reduce anxiety for outpatient surgery. So it's just you're in for a day for a small procedure and you leave. But one of the things we learned was that when you go under anesthesia, if you're anxious when you come out of the anesthesia, and that affects your recovery time. So the calmer you can be before going in for a surgery, it's proven that the faster recovery you have. So we worked with the child life experts at the hospital to do a journey map of an outpatient experience. And we documented kind of the highs and lows of that experience. And what we really wanted to do was to raise the lower points and figure out how to do that to make a better experience. So we focused on the pre-operation and the post-operation experience. We partnered with our Disney Channels team to use Doc McStuffins, which is one of our characters. She's got medical play, there's magic and imagination, it's nurturing, and even older kids really like the Doc McStuffins world. So we felt that would work. And our test was done on kids 6 to 12. Another thing we did was really look at the overall experience. We just didn't want to focus on VR, but what is the whole experience for a kid? This is an example of one of the waiting rooms. It's not very exciting, right? If you're a child, there's nothing for you to do here. It's, boring walls. There's maybe a couple stickers. That's about it. So we wanted to make it less scary. So working with our marketing team, we took over the room, put some fun things up. We have the little VR cart is there, toys, to really make it more playful for kids and not have it be so sterile. And then the VR experience itself, we use the Google Daydream primarily because it's more adaptable to a child's head. And that's if you've done VR and you didn't have your headset on right, you get very motion sick. So we wanted to make sure we had a device that was easy to use, fit on a child's head, and you can use an Android device, which was less expensive as well. So it's more approachable from a price perspective with the hospitals. It also is easy to clean and keep sterile between usage. So this is an example of the VR experience. You're transported into Doc's world, And then you help her with procedures on her stuffed animals. So Snuffy over here, he's got a rip in his side, so you help suture it up. You wave your stethoscope over the animals and they go to sleep for the anesthesia. And the outcome of it was that it really did help reduce the anxiety. You can see the numbers here, but the biggest thing is they weren't as anxious and they didn't think about their surgery as much. And from a VR perspective, they enjoyed it, they were interested and involved, but the biggest thing that there were no reported side effects. So that really helped us to make a case that we could start doing more development with VR. And we launched this product along with a lot of other Disney experiences in children's hospitals across the US and expanding across the world. But who better to hear it from than the kids? So here's some comments from the kids. They felt like a doctor. They also get a little doctor's jacket with a name tag, and they're a doctor for the day. So we really made it fun for the kids. One of the things, though, was like we didn't think about the parents, so we also need a VR experience for the parents to keep them calm, too. The next phase of design thinking is define. So at this point, you want to articulate the problem you want to solve. When I came to Disney, we had 3 apps in the marketplace for kids television: Disney XD, Disney Channel, and Disney Junior. This ranges from a demographic from 2 to 12 years old. These apps were really pushed to the market quickly as early streaming apps were launched, and they were very utilitarian. And that upset me because I have a high expectation of Disney and I wanted some Disney magic there. Another issue I knew coming in, having worked in media, but really felt there, is that as a business, they really looked at the traditional TV model, so what we call linear television, as the king. That's the primary place where people watch. This is where we get the most distribution money. That's where we get the most ad money. And then the mobile experiences were kind of separate. Most people in the business didn't even understand why we had apps. And this was just 5 years ago, because they kind of grew up in this environment. So everything within the business was focused on how do you drive to this linear experience, and then, oh yeah, we might have this app on the side. Well, since I was building the app, I didn't want it to be on the side, but I also wanted to look at it from a kid's perspective. Kids, TV is anywhere. Anywhere you can watch content is TV. So I wanted us to look at it as a holistic view and how we can support each other. So use our app to drive to linear television and use linear television to drive to app experiences. My team at Disney was part product, part games and interactive. So their job was to really deepen the relationship with shows and characters. So it tied in well with linear television. Another thing I wanted, I feel like every app has an emotion with it. And the emotion I wanted was that feeling you get when you walk into a Disney park and you're transported to another place. Our app didn't do that at all. There was no magic in the app at all. So I really love this quote by Walt, and that was really what I wanted to push. But being new at the company, I knew I would run into challenges like, oh, we tried that before, that'll never work. So I was trying to figure out how do I explain to people, how do we get this feeling into the app without me driving it and getting pushback of, oh, we tried that 10 years ago, or that'll never work. So we did a first round of designs, and to me, they were very flat. It just felt, very black and white. There wasn't anything too exciting about it. So bringing that Disney magic back, I really wanted to create this magical experience. So I thought, well, I've got design thinking in my head. Let's figure out how we can leverage it. So I asked the president of Disney Channels, can I take 60 people to Disneyland for a day to really reimagine the way we do this app? And this is my second month in the company. And much to my surprise, he said, sure. So we got it set up, and I got VIP guides for teams of 10. The VIP guides can tell you a lot of history. You can fast pass everybody and ride more rides. But really, I wanted them to help us focus on that attention to detail you have in the park and some of the history we have in the park and how do we leverage that. So the people that came were very excited because we have a work day at Disneyland. And I got people from every area of the business, so marketing, content development, content programming, legal, plus our design and engineering team. But I wanted to include everybody possible to have a representative there. So while we were there, I told everyone, have fun, enjoy the day. But also look for those things that bring the detail, that attention to detail, and really kind of think of how do we put this in an app experience. And that was something I didn't know either. I'm like, I don't know how to put this park experience into an app. And one of the funny things too, one of the guys, actually the front one there, he was taking notes, and this little kid walked up to him. He said, why are you writing a notebook? And he's like, well, I'm working. And the kid's like, that must suck. But for us, it was like, we have a fun work day at Disneyland. So we spent a half day in the park, and I really wanted them to just kind of absorb it and get in their head. And as you can see, like Disney people really jump in, so you have people wearing ears and really get into it. So it takes us to the next phase, is to ideate. So after a half day in the park, I brought everyone back to a conference room at one of the Disneyland hotels. And we did a brainstorm session. So they stayed in their groups and just came up with ideas. And this is something that I think is hard when you have people from different areas of the businesses that aren't used to this approach, is really getting them to ideate quickly. So we did it very time-based. Think of as many ideas as you can. Then we took them to do the presentation. And if anyone has experience with design thinking, your presentation is kind of a skit. And this is where I thought, I'm going to get fired or I'm going to be really praised. Fortunately, I think because we worked with kids' products, because we spent a half day in Disneyland, everyone really jumped in with it. And it's kind of a craft project, too, because you really want to show it from the user's perspective. So I'll show you a video of one of the team's presentations.
I'm going to take some of what we learned today in the park and one of the favorite activities of the park and bring it to life within the app. So we have our user, Robin, 6, California. And she is opening the Disney Now app. First thing she wants to do is watch an episode of The Lion Guard. She is maybe 5 or 6 minutes into this episode when she realizes something pops up in the corner of the screen. She taps it and realizes this is a hidden Mickey. So next, Robin is going to play a game. When she finishes a level of the game, another Mickey pops up. But that's not enough. Robin wants to watch the latest episode of Roadster Racers, which is behind the authentication wall. So she calls her parents, and they walk her through the authentication process. When she does this, guess what happens? She gets another hit. This unlocks for Robin her avatar. The more she plays, the more she watches, the more she participates, she gets to customize her avatar. As she customizes her avatar, we're tracking her progress on an interactive map. As she hits milestones on this map, she unlocks bonus content. Where's your bonus content? This will keep Robin coming back to the app every single day. The end.
So as you can see, we had a lot of confetti that day. We had to clean it up before housekeeping came because we felt so bad. But this team was, the guy that was presenting was on my team, we're Games Interactive. The woman in the middle is a designer. The woman on the ground is from our research group. The guy in back is from television animation. And then we had product and content development. So we had a broad group of people and intentionally divided them up into different teams so we had that cross-collaboration. From that day, we came up with over 600 ideas. Some of them were not really achievable, like smell-o-vision. We haven't come up with that technology yet. But we had a lot of themes that came out of it. And it really sat around what became our product pillars. So our heritage, you'd be hard-pressed to go almost anywhere in the world where someone didn't at least know Mickey Mouse. It's a deep heritage that people can share with their parents, their grandparents. Reward. Who doesn't like a reward? I mean, everyone likes to get, a little bonus point, a little sticker or something. That attention to detail. And then our content. Disney content is just amazing. And it has, our franchises are very strong. So we wanted to recognize that. Plus personalization. We really saw with kids, kids today are so scheduled and have such rigid lives that they don't have a lot of control over what they're doing. So we wanted the app to feel like theirs, that they have control over that experience. So we really wanted it personalized for them. And then we wanted to treat people like we do at the parks, as a guest, and make sure they feel welcome and that they're part of this world. One thing I didn't plan intentionally when I did this, though, was the outcome of also having 60 champions that previously didn't even understand the reason why we had apps, that then were supportive and everyone wanted to contribute their own magic. So from that day, we as a group came up with our product vision. This became our North Star. And the key of it was to have that magical and highly personalized experience. So everything we did from that point on, we would ask ourselves, is it magical? Is it special? Does it really make kids want to come back? Does it have that surprise and delight? And if it didn't, we would go back and work on it some more. This is a promo.
It's time to...
Let me back up real quick. So this promo, you'll see those product pillars for the launch of our product.
It's time to open up awesome. Introducing the app.
Wings up, amigos!
That's all Disney TV and made just for you. Disney Now. Your favorite Disney TV shows and games in one place, whenever, wherever.
Multiple targets. We have multiple targets.
Make profiles with Disney emojis. Pick your favorites and watch full episodes of all the Disney TV shows you love.
Let's get this Lumber Party started!
Play tons of fun games that bring you into the magic. It's everything Disney TV done your way. Watch now, play now, Disney Now. You can download the app now and bring a world of Disney TV favorites into your world.
Hey, what are we watching?
Wait, I already know.
So in creating that promo, it created a new relationship with our marketing team where we collaboratively worked on the script, what kids we were going to use. We were on set to make sure they were using devices properly, which you think everyone would know, but marketing had the kids like touching like this. So, holding the device in the right way. But it was really a great collaboration to make a good launch campaign for us. Not to be outshined, though, our designers really wanted to add their contribution. So they made some hidden Easter eggs in the app. So we have that fun loading animation that they created for us, but then we created some Easter eggs. So if you tap any of the navigation items, it would change. We themed it, and then something fun would happen. So if you tap it 3 times, but each one of those icons has a special animation with it as well. And it was a lot of fun because we could then skin it for the holidays. We could skin it. This was Descendants, so one of our big franchises at Disney, and really kind of make that fun experience. It was also fun to tell parents about this because then they could show their kids and seem really cool. So parents loved it as well. The next step is prototyping. So this is, to test a hypothesis. So one of the ways we did this is, while we think we know what kids want, kids know better. But we really wanted to be in the mind of kids. So we created what we called our Kids Board of Advisors. This was a group of 25 kids that were aged 6 to 12 that we brought into the office once a month. And we put any idea we had on our roadmap in front of these kids. And so what do you think? What is it, are we on the right track? How would you build this? What do you want to do? We'd also ask them about what's cool, what's interesting. Because I always say, once I know it's cool as an adult, it's not cool anymore to kids. So we really need to be in touch with what was trending. Part of this program, at the end of each year, we would have the kids do a pitch. So they would come up with a new game, a new feature, something like that. So it's kind of a STEM initiative as well to teach them about content development and app development. So this is like some pictures of some of our sessions, and then I'll show you by one of the pitches by one of the little girls named Perry.
Wreck-It Ralph Racing, and you choose Wreck-It Ralph or Vanellope, and then you design a car out of candy, and then you get to race around this candy world. And if you win the race, then you get then you get lollipops, and if you get 25 lollipops, you get to unlock costumes for Ralph or Vanilla.
So from that, we would then have the kids pick 4 ideas. My team would spend a month prototyping it, and we would pitch it back. And unfortunately, this concept that Perry came up with, we joined. Fortunately, we joined it with another kid's idea, but that's still in development, so I can't show what came out of it. But it was a really fun racing game that uses AR. That should be a lot of fun for kids. One thing I want to emphasize too with design thinking is it's not a linear process. So at any point, if you get to the ideation session, you don't feel like you have enough information, that you don't really understand your user, you can jump back to that. If you're in the prototype phase and you feel like you need to get more information to define the problem, you move back and forth. So always think of that, of places where you can go back and get more information. So the last phase is test. One of the things we really wanted to work with the Disney Channel's products is interactive storytelling. So the obvious choice was to take a linear storyline and to create a choose your own adventure. So you have those story splits, kind of like, was it Bandersnatch that Netflix did. The thing we ran into with this, though, is for every one of those branch with the US Writers Guild, it's considered a different episode, and you pay them by episode. So the cost of doing it was just not reasonable. And I felt like it was kind of maybe a 3-time and done experience, that it wasn't going to really be evergreen. So we really looked at some new technology to drive to our traditional linear TV, but driving app downloads and app usage. So we partnered with the company to do this interactive experience with our big franchises. So the Descendants franchise that I mentioned to you, we took the movie about a month after it had been released, so kids are obsessed with it. They've been watching it over and over again. They're super fans, to really let them show their fandom. So I'll show you the promo for that.
Number 29.
Let's line it up.
It's a special Descendants 2 live play, hosted by Uma and her crew.
Otherwise known as the baddest pirates on the Isle.
While you watch, play along in Disney Now and fill in the lyrics to your favorite songs.
You wanna be cool? Let me show you how.
Find the clues in the scavenger hunt.
Uma found your spell book.
Play along and get the results of polls while you watch.
Does this vest make me look fat?
Make your mark on the leaderboard.
You do not get to win every time!
Descendants 2 live play, hosted by China, Dylan, and Thomas.
Remember us?
Watch Descendants 2 live play Sunday, October 29th at 6 on Disney Channel, and play along in Disney Now.
So kids really loved the competition of it. They loved showing their affinity and their knowledge, challenging each other in the leaderboard. But we weren't satisfied with just that. So we wanted to take it another step further, and looking at our awards shows, how can we make that from what's typically a passive experience where you're just sitting and watching people get awards to a more interactive experience.
Number 29.
Oops.
Saturday, June 23rd. It's a live play like never before. It's the
2018 Ideate Live Play.
hosted by us. Download the Disney Now app to play along while you watch. Show love to the performers with the applause meter. Vote in live polls. Plus, red carpet exclusives and behind-the-scenes extras you won't see anywhere else. Watch the 2018 Ideate Saturday, June 23rd at 8 and
Play along and Disney Now.
this is a general audience program.
So it really took something that kids are you kind of get bored watching. You may watch a little bit, and made kids part of the show. We also worked on doing this with the Oscars as well to really kind of level that up, because the Oscars demographic in the U.S. is like 60 and over. So we really wanted to try to age that down and get more interest. But we weren't satisfied with just stopping there too. So we wanted to do something a lot more interactive with the app, and kind of, I don't know if you had HQ over here, but it was kind of a trivia thing where you played at a certain time of day and you could win money. We wanted to do a kids version of that. So we did original 2 weeks run tied to linear TV. That proved to be very heavy for the ads team, where they run ads and when you're scheduling shows. So then we did another 80 episodes fully contained in the app. Kids loved it. They were even tweeting. I didn't know kids tweeted, even little kids, but they were tweeting about it. I had friends telling me that their kids like almost won or they did win. And the price was $100 for the first 10 kids. So you didn't have to split it like in some other products. But here's the promo for that.
Are you a whiz at all things Diz? Then get ready to play Disney Quizny, the all Disney trivia game for you and your family. I'm your host on Disney Channel, and you guys at home are the players, trying to correctly answer 5 questions. Want to know how to play? It's easy. First, you make sure you have the Disney Now app downloaded on your phone or tablet. You can also play at DisneyNow.com. Then, to play with the parents' permission, have the Disney Now app or website open and tune in live to Disney Channel every weekday. The faster you guess correctly, the more points you get. At the end of each night's game, the top 10 players on the leaderboard will win a cash prize. And every Friday is Freaky Friday because the cash prize doubles. Double the money? Now that's just plain freaky. It's 5 questions in about 5 minutes, 5 nights a week. All right, guys, you got this. I'll see you on Disney Quizny.
You can play Disney Quizny in the Disney Now app live every weeknight, July 16th through the 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific on Disney Channel.
And if you're concerned about us like giving kids prize money, we did a ton of research around it, and some parents said they were okay with us giving their kids $25,000, but most people were happy with around $25 to $100, so we sat with that. So I want to leave you with the final quote from Walt of to think, believe, dream, and then to dare to do it. I think if you can iterate and prove things, get data as you go along, you can really make some really magical things. Talk.